lot of Americans are in a crisis mode, or they're heading off a cliff for retirement. They're not going to have an adequate retirement. There's going to be 88 million people over 65 years old in the next 20 years in America alone. And the vast majority of them don't have a retirement that's going to allow them to maintain their standard of living. You know, I'm 59, and if you're 35, 40 years old and you're starting to realize that, hey, you know, I don't have a government job and I don't have a government pension, and there's very few private sector jobs anymore that have a pension because they are only in unions. They're the only ones that will be forced to do it in union jobs. So we're in a crisis situation where most people have to do it on their own. And that's thanks to the government and the corporations who basically lobbied them into creating the 401k plan in 1978 Tax Reform Act. And that was basically letting corporations off the hook. Bottom line is they sold it to the American people and the workers and the middle class as a great opportunity for them, knowing full well what was going to happen, because it's dependent on contributions being made from voluntary payroll deductions. And when people are living paycheck to paycheck, and all of a sudden they say, well, I could use that extra $150 or $200 a month, instead of putting it in this month, I'm just going to use it to pay the bills, and there you go. 40 years later, they've got no funding, because if they don't put it in, the corporations don't have to match it, which is why they pass the law. Okay? So that kind of pisses me off, to be honest with you. That's really the bottom line. That's what my motivation is for what I'm starting to do now. Real estate has been good, and anybody can do it. This is my message. Somebody can start at 35, 40, even 55 years old, and they can create a retirement subsidy through getting a few rental houses that will actually double or triple their retirement they're going to get from Social Security, if they're lucky enough to get it at all by the time they get there. So you're going to be on your own. So this is where my message is going to come from. And it all boils down to the same thing. It's still about residential real estate for me. Because what we're doing here is learning how to analyze a property quickly. We find out a property is potential property, a prospective property for us to buy. The 50% rule is a quick way to do it. The main thing is this part right here. Okay? Expenses. Just like these percentages, you choose them. I use 10 as a default for this at this level. Refrigerators wear out, washing machines wear out, carpet wears out. All these things are wearing out just as you're watching. If I'd said, give me your tax returns for the last 3 years, and you would have said, yeah, screw you, Rob. And I would too. Even a president does that, right? So you know, you're not going to get it. So you're going to have to learn to swag it. I will not buy a property that will not support itself. I mean, why would you? Betting on appreciation. I don't do that. It happens, and I've been lucky, but it wasn't planned on. I'm planning on this happening. And the older and crappier the house is, the more this is going to happen, the CapEx. Okay? Because the roof might already be worn out when you buy it. And you're starting off with a zero fund built up, right? You're going to take 10% every month out of the rent, 80 bucks out of this, and put that into an account. But what if you need a roof next year that's cost $8,000 and you've only got $800 in there now? So you got to be careful. The price is down low enough to where I can actually get a positive cash flow. Because I'm $30 away from saying nope, nope, no way. Because I'm not doing it for free. You know, and I understand, oh, I went to college and I got a doctor's degree, a law degree. And there's very little I like more than getting my hands dirty, saving money. Now, I'm not saying anything's wrong with people who are smarter than me and can do a passive real estate business. And usually that involves picking the right parents that died. And what they always forget is 1 and 2, conveniently. You know, and then they'll give some paltry amount for these, you know, just to show how smart they are that they didn't forget them. Inadequate usually. But forgetting these two and leaving these out is just crazy. Because you don't have the actual stuff, so I'm going to do it kind of fill in the blanks right now, taking my best guess. That's the pro forma. And you say, okay, I know the rent. I know 50% is a pretty good ballpark for me. Okay? More than likely it's going to be a little high. But wouldn't you rather be high on the expenses instead of low? Because if you're low on the expenses, how much does it take for that 30 bucks to disappear and go into 30 minus or 100 negative? Like for me, as I said, if it gets to a positive cash flow with these kind of assumptions, then I'm interested. Because I might go in there and tweak a little here and take 10,000, getting come down 10,000 on the price, and maybe a 0.5% on the interest rate, and maybe the condition is something when I go to see it. Oh wow, this got new refrigerators and new stuff and new roof and everything, you know. So I can then come down on the capex a little bit comfortably, and all of a sudden it goes from break even to 100 positive. Ding! It is cycles, but it also means you're probably going to have appreciation. So your people that own a lot of real estate are going to be smiling, because I've bought places, Andy and I, for $36,000. I mean, this is one I always tell a story. Bought it for $36,000, a little crappy row house, and in Virginia, and I put about 30,000 into it, renovating it. And I rented it right away for $1,200 a month on Section 8. It had the same tenant in it for 6 years, over 72 months. So right there has already got like more than double my return for my entire purchase price and renovation. And then I got ready to sell it. The girl finally moved out, and I said, okay, we're going to sell it. That's the last one. I'd bought about 6 in that same little subdivision area. There's gunshots going on in there when I bought it. I mean, that's how bad it was. And I sold it in one day for $325,000 without cleaning it up, not even sweeping it, not even putting it on the market. And 2 days later, I had a check for $325,000, and that's on top of all that rent I collected, and no debt, not a day's vacancy after I got through rehabbing. So appreciation can really be fun, you know. Just don't plan on it. Don't say, "Oh, I can cover $200 a month because I know it's going to go up in value." Yeah, words to die by. That's how most people go broke and lose everything. It's like a house of cards, and they start falling their dominoes, and once they fall, they all fall. Now you're bankrupt, lost all your equity, all your last 5 years' work. You're broke. You're bankrupt. You're worse than broke, and you have no credit. So fresh start my ass. You're done. I mean, you just blew it. You don't need. I don't know a whole lot of people who do this full time, like I do, real estate stuff. Most people have a job. Most people have other incomes. They have other concerns, and they do this on the side, which is the greatest thing about it. You can do this part time. So you don't have to have every deal. You don't have to get a deal every week. You don't have to do 10 deals a year or 25 deals a year or whatever. That's all arbitrary bull. You don't have to do that. So you have the ability to sit back and be picky and cherry pick only the good ones. Put your time in, put your work in finding them, but don't chase them. This keeps you grounded. Is the benefits of owning real estate. Now, we talked about the retirement benefits, and we didn't get into detail, but that's kind of my big shtick right now that I'm kind of thinking about, because it really is serving a purpose that I don't know there's any other way people can bail themselves out. I mean, you just can't work enough more, get enough extra hours or whatever, save an extra 30 or 40% every month. I mean, who the hell can do that? So you're in a position where it's like you're basically going off a cliff, and you're going there 20 years from now. So what do I do? Well, there aren't too many solutions I know of better than real estate to solve that. $400 a month, that's $5,000 a year. What if you had 10 of those when you retired? That's probably as much as most people's take-home pay full time when they're working. It ain't that hard to get 10 rental properties that'll make you $400 a month when they're paid off. And guess who pays it off? The tenants. That's a big secret right there, isn't it? Just don't tell anybody. Leverage. Now this is a really cool one, and it's not often mentioned as a benefit of investing and buying real estate. But here's the truth. Where can you go buy something that's a valuable asset, that's going to probably appreciate, make you money over the years, create an income flow for you, all these benefits? Where can you do that for 20 cents on a dollar? I mean, what? I don't know of anything else. Leverage is big. Let me just give you one quick example, okay? Let's say, and I should have written this out. Let's say that you had $100,000 cash, and you had two basic choices, okay? Let's say you could go buy one rent house for $100,000 cash. The price was $100,000, you paid $100,000 cash, right? That's one scenario. The other one is you can take $20,000 each, 20% down, right? And buy 5 $100,000 houses with the same $100,000 cash, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, right? Assuming you get the mortgage, and you can. Now, let's say that you hold either scenario, you hold it for 10 years, and it appreciates. And let's say at the end of 10 years, it's gone up 30%. Let's just be real, modest or, conservative. So now this $100,000 house is worth how much? 130 basically, right? How much would these $500,000 worth of houses be worth? 650. So you made 30, you made 150. You made 30, you made 150. That's what leverage is. Now that's the good side. What's the other side of leverage? Or just when the shit hits the fan. If you're, over leveraged. I mean, what if you had those 5 houses and for whatever reason, cataclysmic, whatever, you can't keep them rented, or the rent has to drop a certain amount and you don't have a whole lot to play with for your cash flow. So now it works 5 times against you, because now you got 5 vacancies and 5 mortgage payments you can't make, and 5 this and 5 roofs that are going bad. See? So you got to weigh and balance it. Don't be greedy. That's the easy thing to do when you can borrow money easily, like what's coming up right now. Money's easy to get, but it's a monkey trap. You ever heard of a monkey trap? It's where there's like a jar with a little neck on it, that big, and you put a bunch of nuts, like big nuts for eating, in there, and a monkey reaches in there and he grabs them all because he's greedy. And he makes a big fist with a handful of nuts and he can't get his hand out. Because if he'd be damned if he's going to let those nuts go, and he starves to death. Where if he just got one at a time and took it out, he'd be happy. So don't be greedy and get stuck, because that's the way it is. We raise our rents to take every last dollar we can from the money people can pay. That's what makes prices of houses go up, is people's ability to pay, which is chiefly at least 5 to 10x leveraged, right, by the lenders, which is why lenders' policy can really whipsaw the market and cause these things to happen, where you have these huge booms, and then 2008 happens and all the crooks get caught and they run off with all the money, which is, I guess America. And then, and they don't get punished, they just get all the money, and everybody else has to pick up all the shit. That's sad, but that's the way life is. It's the golden rule, right? And I don't mean Jesus' golden rule. I mean the golden rule that they who have the goal make the rules. And that ain't going to change as far as I know. So we're on our own. And I don't know any better way to do it than real estate. To take back control of your own financial life and destiny, and your security, and your retirement. What's the use of working 40 years hard and playing the rules and going by the rules? I went to college, I got out, I did this, I put my nose to the grindstone, got a good job, stayed with a career, took shit from everybody for 35 years, and then finally it's time to retire. And I can't afford to. Because if I do, I can't stay in the house I've been in for 30 years. I got to sell it and move into a little apartment, because I can't afford to live on $1,200 Social Security. I mean, that's a hell of a note, isn't it? So that's something to think about. I'm not making this up. It's like 50% of Americans do not have $1,000 in savings. They retire. I mean, those people get old. Well, definitely. And we're not talking about we're not talking about broke people that don't work or bums or whatever. Working people, the working poor is now like, I don't know, we're like $45,000 a year income as a working poor now. That's like poverty level almost. What the hell? Why? Because of greedy landlords like us raising the rent. But it's what it and that's the way it's going to be. And I have to raise the rent because guess what? The greedy home seller and Rick and everybody charged too much when I bought the house from him. So I have to charge more to be able to make my high payments to him. So, it's life. You can fight it and drive off the cliff, commit suicide, whatever, or you can say, it sucks, it's what it is, what can I do about it? I'm already working 70 hours a week. I can't get another job. I can't save any more money because I'm barely making my men's meet every month now. My wife's already working. My girlfriend's working. What am I going to do? So real estate is one of the few ways out that I know of that you can actually affect a very real change. So to me, that's a kind of a cause. I mean, I'm starting a movement, basically. At least that's my way I'm looking at it. And it's going to probably save a lot of people from a life worse than death. Yeah, so let's not forget where we came from. Let's not forget who these people are. Everybody has these, they're in different cycles in their life, you know, and they will do this. They will pay this for you. For 30 years, they'll make your mortgage payment for you. If you just treat them like people, give them a nice, safe, clean place to live. And I consider that a noble cause. It's not why I'm doing it. I'm doing it for the money, but, you know, it makes me feel good. I applaud you guys on every level that you've done this. You paid your own house off in 14 years. I mean, that's just, you know, that's smart. You're going to be in a position that most people are not going to be in when they retire to do whatever you want to do. Then you can afford to hire high-priced people like Nathan to manage it, and you can go to Hawaii.